Welcome, everybody, to the Table Rush Talk Show, where we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship, marketing, and personal growth. I'm your host, Mischa Zvegintzov, and today we have an electrifying guest. Co- Today we have an electrifying guest, Coach Dan Gordon. After losing his business and over $100,000 in 2016, Dan transformed his life and now empowers gutsy entrepreneurs to overcome trauma and unleash their inner badass. Get ready for insights on authentic sales, mindset barriers, and compassionate leadership. Dan, welcome to the show.
Mischa, I've been on well over 100 shows. That was the best introduction. It was straight on what I'm about. Brilliant. I'm scraping that. I'm taking it. I love your ideas. This isn't the first idea I've stolen of yours. That is the best introduction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have been anticipating being on your show. I've been dreaming about being on your show. I have really been looking forward to this because there is gobs and gobs of actionable, helpful information I want to dump on your audience. So
Okay.
you lead the way, man. Let's go.
Okay, awesome. So I always like to dive into, hey, what's your story? And this is the first time I realized as I put together the introduction, I was like, oh my gosh, you lost $100,000 in
Yeah.
2016, hit a
Yeah.
bottom, obviously. So
Oh
talk to me
yeah.
about that. Like, what's the story there?
You know, it I'll give it to you this way. I had a marketing company, right? It was going well. And I decided to invest everything into it, right? No holds barred, doing the right thing, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, like this is what you do. You put all your chips on the table, right? And the dice came up snake eyes, right? I lost everything. I made some crucial mistakes. And after I lost everything, literally, Mischa, on the floor in snot and tears, having what I can only call an emotional breakdown, I realized something transformative. I orchestrated this entire thing. I wanted to lose my business. I wanted to lose $100,000. I wanted to be there on the floor in snot and tears. And why? Because I was not doing what I loved. I was not doing what I am passionate about. I don't love marketing. I'm just really good at it. But it was never supposed to be a career. And you who are listening right now, if you're headed for something, just because you're good at it, just because you know you can make a lot of money in it, you are headed for disaster. All right. Let me wave you off right now. It's not going to work out. Something's going to happen that's going to take it down because it's not aligned with your perfect version of yourself. And that's just the facts.
I love that. Just because you're good at it, it doesn't mean you have to do it. I went
Mm,
through my own situation like that. I did this inventory of all the stuff I was good at, and then
yeah.
I put a little dot next to the things that made me feel light or made me feel dark. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really good at all this stuff, but I hate 75% of it. I am not doing it anymore. So,
Right.
so are you helping people sort that out where like, hey, you're stuck, or are you bringing people into the fold who have already hit that bottom and are now doing what they love?
Wow, that's a great question. I love helping people on their way to the bottom, right? As the plane is after it stalls, after it's headed toward the ground, right? After the pilot cannot pull it out of the dive, I slide into the co-pilot seat, grab the controls, and ease back the throttle, pull it back up so it doesn't hit ground. You don't have to have a bottom. You really don't have you don't need that. But what you do have to know is you're headed that way. And here's how you know that, Mischa. I'm not making the money that I was. I'm not enjoying my business the way that it was. And the people around me have said something's different with you. Right now,
Mm.
these three elements give you the indication because you might not know. I didn't know I was in a dive. I just thought work harder, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. You put a little more effort into it. Things aren't working, apply more pressure. That's what you do. If at first you don't succeed, try again. However, if you try again and it doesn't work, that means something. And that's where I was.
So walk me through those three things again. The three signs that you're heading to the bottom and you may want to pull the ripcord, reevaluate, and
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Number one is I'm
Right.
not making the money I was. Go ahead.
I'm not making the money that it was. I don't have the enthusiasm that I had. And people around me are saying things about me. They're saying, "Are you okay? What's going on? You don't seem like you were," right? These little things that your friends will say that kind of give you an indication something's up.
For you, you're hitting bottom, you're on the floor, snot and tears.
Yeah.
How else is that discontent manifesting in your life? Are you married at the time? Are your kids not talking to you? Are you headed for divorce? What's going on?
No, I had no one in my life at the time. I mean, I was living a pretty empty life, right? I was trying, I see, I thought, Misha, I thought that being good at marketing was going to fill this empty void in me. And I was also
Mm.
doing a lot of the other things that guys do, right? I was dating, right? You can plug in whatever word you want to use instead of dating. We all know what I'm talking about. I was doing the things to distract myself. I watched a lot of TV. I'd ballooned up, right? All these things that are indications that I'm trying to distract myself from the thing that's really going on. The thing that was going on is I was unhappy. It's just unhappy. Right? And sure, we all go through stages of unhappiness, but when it's core kind of unhappiness, you got to pay attention.
Yeah. So rebirth, what's that look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, tell me.
All right. So what's bottom like? Bottom is the absence of self-love. When you cannot dig in and go, what's good about me and come up with an answer, that's bottom.
Mm.
Now that's when you reach out to a friend. I just have this thing about me where my my spirit cannot be dulled forever. And it's a God-given gift. I'm thankful that I have this. There's a lot of people, they hit bottom and stay there. I just can't. No matter what happens, I keep coming back, right? I'm like Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. I keep coming back. I keep coming back. And so my comeback was to pick up the phone and call a friend. I call my good friend Laura Lee. She could immediately tell that something was up, and so she's walking me through. She goes, "What happened?" And she said, "Well, what do you want to do? You want to rebuild your marketing career?" I'm like, "No, I hate marketing, right? I'm just good at it." She goes, "Well, what do you want?" Now, Laura Lee had known me in my earlier days of being in personal development, right? I was a god in personal development. I was great at it, right? I couldn't make a living at it, right? The company I worked for, like there just wasn't enough money in it. So I got into business and I said, look, I want to do what I did in personal development, but what I want to do it with entrepreneurs. I want to do it with people who are dedicated and committed. Because most people who get into personal development courses, Misha, they're at zero, they're at negative numbers. They just want to get back to zero, right? They just want, they're not really looking to improve their life. They just want their life to stop sucking. Entrepreneurs, right? What do we want? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Everything.
every
Right? Right. We want the ice cream sundae and the cherry on top and the cherry on top of that cherry. And on top of that cherry, we want a Tesla Model X, right? So we are willing to do the work. And so I'm like, I want to work for entrepreneurs. And I said to her, I don't know if I can do this. And she goes, you'll figure it out. 8 months later, almost to the day that I had that phone call with her, almost to that very day that I'd lost everything, I walk out on stage in Dallas, Texas, being paid $10,000 for my very first speaking gig.
wow. Does that just fall into place by serendipity or
Far from it. Now, everybody loves this story, but nobody wants to hear what happened in the 8 months, right? Because the 8 months was the unfun part. Right? The 8 months was complete ego deconstruction. So I wiped the whiteboard clean of Dan Gordon and started building from the ground up Coach Dan Gordon. And I'm not saying that I have some alternate persona. What I'm saying is I stepped into my true self. We all have greatness. We all have that thing where we are better than everybody else, right? That God-given gift, those qualities, those things that we developed. Now, whether or not we achieve those things and live in those things, that's up to us. But getting there is rough because you have like it's really easy to have a marketing company and do things that aren't personal, right? If I fail at marketing, well, it's just a thing that I'm good at, but it's not me. This is me. I faced me.
You're putting it on the line.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah.
this is, I lost all my money. That's easy. You can always make more money. If I failed at the thing that I think that I am, whoa, that's everything.
I love that. I just got the chills. Well, I don't love it, but I appreciate it very much. It's like this, you know what? This is my destiny. This is what I'm called to do. This is the thing that if I don't do it, I'm going to feel like I failed at life, or not
Yeah.
failed at life. Or if I
No,
don't
yeah,
try,
yeah,
yeah,
failed at life
yeah, failed at
completely.
life. If I at least don't try it and give it my all, then
Hmm.
I'm blowing it. And so
Hmm.
to find that spot and then put yourself out there, man, that's heavy. So heavy.
It was rough, but it took losing everything. And you don't have to. You who are listening right now, you don't have to lose everything, right? The plane doesn't have to hit Earth. You can pull it out of the nosedive. Right? But you have to be courageous.
I love that. Again, I'm saying that a lot right now, but it's
Mm,
resonating because I know there's people listening, watching right now who that hitting bottom might not be losing all the money. It might be having your kids stop talking to you. It
yeah,
might be divorces coming your way because you're
yeah,
suffering in what you're doing and you're not living your dream or your purpose or your passion, however you want to say it these days. And so you're taking your suffering out on your loved one. And so they're like,
yeah.
I can't take it anymore. I can't watch you in the death spiral or the downward spiral or whatever. So it sounds to me like you're able to, well, you did this yourself after hitting bottom,
Yeah,
but you're able to take someone who might be seeing the cracks like they're starting to
yeah.
get big, and you're like, hey man, let's catch you gracefully. And then what are some of the words like overcome this trauma, help gutsy
It
entrepreneurs. Go
it
ahead,
is.
go go.
It's actually stepping into the trauma. Okay, so we carry trauma with us throughout our lives, right? And it, I'll give you a Superman analogy. Okay, so we all know the Superman story, right? Um, uh, Jor-El, son of the Superman's father,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
puts his infant son Kal-El into the spaceship because the planet Krypton is breaking up. No one believes him. He puts his infant son, shoots him out into space. Krypton explodes. Superman, the baby goes all the way to Earth. He's found by the Kents, and he grows up to be Superman. Now, when Krypton explodes, little shards of Krypton follow Superman. They get caught in the wake of the spaceship. They follow Superman all the way to Earth. And when Lex Luthor figures out it maybe if I use these little pieces of Krypton, it will it will take Superman's powers away. Okay, really cool. Now, this is a perfect analogy of us, right? When we come into this world, we are perfect little golden spheres of love. Stuff happens. It happens. We have experiences that mess us up, that make us question our own validity as good people, as lovable beings, right? It just happens. Those shards of our past, those broken pieces of Krypton follow us all the way into adulthood. And when they show up, they rob us of our powers. That is trauma.
I love that analogy. And I literally will look at Superman with from a new perspective. I never even hit me about the the shards of kryptonite
Right,
following.
right, right.
And
They follow. So when our trauma follows us, right, it shows up in our lives. And the way it shows up is in our relationships, right? When you get really pissed off at somebody, especially in a love relationship, that's a piece of your trauma. That's a mirror. Our trauma is like highly polished pieces of granite. We see ourselves in our trauma, right? So, like our partner might say, "Hey, I think you could make a little more money." And we might be like, "Hey, don't tell me I'm a failure," right? And they're like, "Whoa, what the hell happened there?" Right? That's that, right? That is the trauma showing up. Now, when you find that you start blaming a lot of people for your struggles, that means that your trauma is very present in your life. And you get a choice. You can try to quiet all those voices around you. You're going to spend your entire lifetime trying to get people to shut up. Or, or you can step into that and go, okay, this stuff is going on. I'm getting bothered. This must mean a mirror. This must mean something about me. Let me dive into it and start healing it. And that's the first stop. That's the first place I start working with my clients. What are they struggling with? What's in front of them?
so talk to me more about that. Like, well, I guess this is the question that came to me was
Yeah.
my guess is someone that's generally entering into your ecosystem or hearing you going, yeah, I want help from Coach Dan Gordon is somebody who is probably 45 to 55 to 60 years
Mhm.
old, been through some life, had some success, maybe still is quote unquote successful,
Yeah.
but they're coming to you males mostly or male female or
I work with a lot of women.
okay.
And part of the reason is I grew up with a single mom who struggled. I saw her struggles, and I've always had this really strong connection and want and desire to help women. I think little, 10-year-old Danny couldn't help his mom, heal his mom, but you know, growing up Dan, Coach Dan, likes to do that. And it's not actually I've worked with people in their 30s. I work with people in their 40s. It's whenever it shows up, but you'll know when it shows up. You'll know it because something changes big.
Yes, it's mission critical. It's
Hmm.
it's it's you know that this isn't something that you just shrug off or walk
Right.
around or step over. This is a major turning point in my life. Either I address it, lean in. This might be subconsciously, or there's going to be serious ramifications if I don't. So someone gets into your ecosystem. First step one is what is the thing that you're struggling with? Is there commonalities there, or how do you help people sort out what they're struggling with? Because my guess is some people have a hard time even verbalizing what they're
Hmm.
struggling with.
Well, that's a great question, Misha, and that's why I focus on sales. Right. Having taught personal development for over a decade, what I discovered is anything that you struggle with in business, life, relationships shows up in a sales interaction. Right. You don't feel great about yourself, it's going to show up in a sales interaction. Right. You don't completely value your product or service or yourself, it shows up in a sales interaction. So sales has actually become the ultimate diagnostic tool for helping someone heal their trauma and make money at the same time.
That's amazing. Sales is the window.
It
Sales,
is. It
your
is.
sales skills, yeah, are the window into your soul. Ooh, this is good.
Completely.
This is amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
so well, I guess we can go a couple ways. Obvious question, what's the number one reason most honor entrepreneurs fail and what can they
Mhm.
do to prevent it? Or if we look at from the sales window, why are you failing at sales?
Yeah.
Or run with that. Where do you want to take that?
Yeah. So let's start with that first thing. In life, love is the most important thing. In business, money is the most important thing, right? Money is the most important thing in business. Money is the gas in the gas tank that keeps your car going, that keeps your business going. If you don't have money, you're not in business. If you're working and you're not making money, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. Hobbies are fun. Hobbies are great. But when you go to the bank and you say, I need a loan for a house, they don't say, what's your hobby? Right? They look at your income.
They literally say, what's your business?
Yeah. Right. Like,
What's your income? And prove it. That's not a hypothetical, well, this is what it's going to be like, blah, 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 blah. They're
yeah.
like, show me your tax returns. I had one of those come to Jesus moments in the entrepreneurial journey. Like, I
Did
got to
you?
clean up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a hard mirror to look into, right? And and I hear things like, "Oh, do what you love, and the money will follow." No, no, it doesn't work that way. Like you do what you love, and you sweat balls over it. I mean, you grind over it. You suffer through heartbreak over it. It's it's rough, right? And so focusing on the money is key. And that's why sales is so important because sales helps you determine where you have a problem with the money. And where the problem usually shows up is, do I completely value what I do? And do I value it so greatly? Am I so committed to bringing this value to the world that I'm willing to override the rejection that I get from other people?
It's good. It's really good.
Because if you're not, then you don't really believe in what you do. You don't, right? If I say, well, I'm going to talk to Mischa about becoming a client, and Mischa goes, I don't know, I don't think I'm ready. And I go, okay, I don't want to be pushy. That's you make the choice. I have sold you out, man. I have sold you out 100%. You should punch me in the face. You should, write me off. I've sold you out, right? You came to me in essence saying, I need your help, but I'm scared. And by you saying I'm not ready yet, what you're doing, what's happened, and it's supposed to happen, your fear is elevated, right? Your ego is going, hey, if I connect with Coach Dan Gordon, everything's going to change. Well, I don't want things to change. I'm afraid of change. I'm the ego. That's my job to make sure nothing changes, right? Sit in this lazy boy recliner and watch TV. That's what the ego likes, right?
Yes.
Your prefrontal cortex meanwhile is going, hey, we got to pay the bills here, right? That rational part of you is saying, hey, I want to step into something new and exciting, right? So those two parts are having a war. Now, it's my job to make sure that your prefrontal cortex wins that war, that your prefrontal cortex, that I help you build up the courage and determination to tell the ego, hey, take a seat, because we are jumping into the rocket ship. We're setting the controls on automatic. We're headed for the sun. Right? We are going on an adventure, and it's going to be scary, but we're going to lean into that fear, because on the other side of the fear is a greater version of me that I don't even know exists, but I'm going to find out. And that's what I do. And it's why I only work with people who are go-getters. Right? If you're kind of scraping along and like, oh, I really need your help, but I don't know. I don't know if I can afford it. I don't know if it's right. I don't know the time. I don't know, man. You got a lot of work. Okay, that's fine. I bless you. I send you on your journey. You're going to hit whatever wall you hit. You'll come back around. You'll find a Coach Dan in your life, me or someone else, and that'll be great. But you got to be ready to go. Right. So I work with people like financial advisors. Like I work with people like lawyers, like uh, uh, personal injury attorneys or bankruptcy attorneys, right? People who need to fill that pipeline. They get big paydays, right? But they take big risks. And so I work with high level people because high level people are willing to do the work. Sadly, the people who need it the most won't do it.
Mm. You get a client, lawyer, whoever,
Yeah.
high level individual, willing to do the work, but they've had that turning point where doing it for the paycheck isn't solving the problem.
Right.
Doing it because it's not that soul movement, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Are you I mean, you can't be pulling people out of being a personal injury lawyer and
Mm,
then moving them to insurance salesman. You're
yeah.
helping them reframe or find that passion piece within what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's right. So I think what you're saying, Misha, is what do I do?
Yeah.
Right? How do I move them? Okay. So I'm I, I'm pretty unusual in terms of coaches because I'm the only coach that I know that commits to getting people paid back for what they're paying me. Right? Most coaches, you hire them, they're like, well, if you do the work, you'll get value out of it. If you don't do the work, then you won't know. That's a complete sellout. Right? I look at it this way. I'm a pilot. You hire me to fly you from New York to LA. If I land in Cleveland and say, well, Misha, if you had been a better passenger, we would have made it. That's baloney, right? It's my job as a pilot to get you there, right? If you hire me as your coach, it's my job as your coach to get you there. If you're not doing the work, that's my fault, not your fault. Now, you've already qualified as a badass to be a client, so I'm going to help you. So here's what I do. Yeah, we're gonna work on sales. We're probably the first thing I'm going to do is ask you to double your fees because there's a good chance that you're charging way too less. Most of my clients do. It scares the hell out of them, but what they find is people don't reel back in horror. They do pay because how I help them show up is the person who is earning double their fee. Easiest way to get people paid back. It just, okay, double your fee. We're going to start working there. The fact is, Misha, it takes you the same amount of time to close someone at your current fee than it would take you if you doubled your fees. The only limiting factor is you valuing you. So how do we up your value? Like, how do we get you convinced that you're worth that?
Tell me.
And that's my time. See you later. No.
Right.
Uh,
I know. And stay tuned for episode number 2.
right. Hey, I'm going to drop my own little plug. I have a book called Selling is Bullshit. And a lot of what I'm sharing is in that book. And if you want a free copy of that book, just text the letters BS. BS isn't bullshit. Text BS to this number, 213 409 8366. 213-409-8366. Text the letters BS as in bullshit. BS 213-409-8366. Text BS. Okay. So the way that I do this is oftentimes I use this diagnostic tool that I call the free dessert challenge. See, I don't jump right in to getting them into sales because there's too many emotional tendrils in it. Like, oh, it's value, right? I got to ease them into it. So the free dessert challenge is this. I say to my client, go have lunch at a nice restaurant. At the end of lunch, when the server comes to you and says, would you like a dessert? Have a dessert picked out and say this. Yes, I would like a dessert, but I have a very unusual request. Now, I'm fine if the answer to my request is no, but here's my request. I would like the restaurant to pay for the apple pie. I would like the apple pie, whatever it is. I'd like the apple pie, and I'd like the restaurant, not you, server, but I'd like the restaurant to pay for it. And then stop talking and see what they say. Now, usually they'll say something like, "Is there a reason for this? Is it your birthday?" And you don't go down that road. You just go, I totally understand. This is a very odd request. You've probably never gotten it. But all I ask is a yes or a no. Either you'll give me the dessert, have the restaurant pay for it, or no. Well, why is this? And like, I totally understand. Really, all I need is a yes or no. And if they say something like, well, I really can't do that, like, I totally understand. Thank you. Just to be clear, is that a yes or a no? So you see what I'm doing here, right? I am getting someone I'm practicing being influential. I'm getting someone to give me a response that I want, not to slide out. Well, we can't. My manager won't let me. I don't know. Not today. Yes or no. and you keep on them until you get the yes or no.
I love it. And if they don't give you the yes or no, you reframe it and say, I understand that that's not something you feel comfortable asking your boss about, or you think the restaurant will say no, or it's uncomfortable. Is that a yes or a no?
Yeah.
Tell
Right. Yeah.
me
Just to be,
yes or
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
just to be
Yeah. Yeah.
clear.
Just, right. Just to be clear, like, would you just let me know yes or no? Now, this person's going to be very uncomfortable. They might get pissed off at you. They might be, well, I said my manager won't let me do it. Like, I totally get it. Just so I'm clear, is this a yes or no? Right. And right. So you're practicing, right? You're practicing being influential. You're practicing moving someone in a direction to get a clear answer. And you're going to leave the restaurant. You may never go there again. It doesn't matter, right? It's not about you. It's not about your business. It's not really about money. It's a very small amount. You're going to take that experience as we start to work on your sales, right? You're going to start to understand what it's like to get a yes or no from a prospect. Right? And you're going to stop doing things like letting them say, "Oh, I'll get back to you." And you're like, "Okay, great." Click. Of course they're not going to get back to you, right? What you do is with a prospect, there's three options. Yes, we all love a yes, Misha, right? Yes means money in the bank. Right? Yes means, they approve of us. It's very nice. No, we don't like a no, but at least we brought them to a choice or next interaction. Right. So if they say, I can't really make a decision right now, no problem. Totally understand. Um, how about Wednesday? Right. Let's say it's Monday. Like, I tell you what, let's meet, let's connect again on Wednesday. And by Wednesday, I'm sure you'll be able to figure out if you can afford it or blah, blah, blah. Right. And well, I don't know if I'll be ready Wednesday. Okay, great. How about Friday? Let's just go ahead and book it for Friday. Like, hey, I really feel like you're being pushy. I totally understand. I don't want to come off that way. I just really want to make sure that I'm able to kind of close the loop on this. So I'm not just wondering, hey, did Misha get what he needed from me? Is Misha okay? Right? Just so so I can get some sleep at night.
This is good. I am having all kinds of questions firing in my brain right now.
Let's hear them.
Yeah, first I wanted to say that send me information. That's the ultimate. That's a no. That's such a blatant
Right.
no. Whenever somebody says to me, send me the information or DM me your offer or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like what I was taught was to say, I mean, sometimes blatantly say, hey, this request for information is basically just a no. So you can even straight up call out the person like that. Or another way, and you can give me your feedback on this.
Yeah.
Another way is to say, hey, great, I'm going to get you that information, but assuming everything is as I said it is, do we have a yes? So that's what I would do. I'd say, hey, assuming what I send you confirms what we talked about, do I have a yes? Because,
Mm,
right? So
perfect.
then,
Yeah.
yeah. So that, but go ahead if you want to riff on that
Oh,
thought for
I
a
yeah,
second.
I like that. I take an approach. Well, I'll say it this way. I like to point to what's actually going on, right? So nobody's lying to anybody, right? Which is, and look, I learned this in dating, right? Someone would sit down with me. I could feel like, oh, this is not happening, and she's like, I gotta do this thing with a friend tonight, and I go, it's okay that you want to leave. It really is fine. Like, we're not vibing. It's totally cool. You don't like me. It's okay. Oh, it's not that. Like, no, no, really, it doesn't matter, right? It's fine. And so I do the same thing. Someone says, "Oh, okay, would you send me in for information on that?" Or I'm not really like, "Hey, I get it. I really understand. This is a big decision, and it's a little scary." Right? So there's a lot going on in your brain right now. I know how it works. We just want to kind of get away from the thing that feels uncomfortable. You want to get away from the conversation. It's fine, right? There's a lot, right? We've covered a lot. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and book that next call, right? Like, give you a little time to just kind of cook on it, and then we'll just pick up where we left off. How about that?
Love
Now
it.
they're going to say yes because they want to get out of the conversation, right? The heat's turned up, right? So they're agreeing to this thing, and they're like, yeah, I'll just yeah, I'll book another call with you. I have your link. I go, hey, tell you what, thanks. Tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and schedule a new call. It's totally easy. Like I have all your information. I click one button and schedule our next call. If it's not a good time, you're going to get an email. You can just click the reschedule button. Right. You can click the reschedule and reschedule it to any time. It's one button. It's so easy. You don't have to put in all your information again. How about that? Yeah, that'd be great. Perfect.
It's good.
So I actually handle the reschedule I actually schedule the next call myself. I don't depend on them. Even if they say yes, I will book another call with you, that's still a lie.
Yeah.
You
You know,
got to
it's
do it all. You got to take them by the hand.
you've got to. You know what's good about that too, of here, let's book the next call. Here's the button, here's the link, or whatever. If they are on that will oftentimes suss out the next objection too, or give you something to provide
Hmm.
what the real issue is for the next time. Because they're like, well, I don't know if I want to book this call because this is what I'm really uncertain about, or this is my
Yeah.
question, or this is my concern. Do you have that happen sometimes, or with this method that
Um,
you teach people, or
well, they may say, I just don't think this is right for me. And I'm like, hey, I get it, right? You can tell this is my favorite thing. Hey, I get it, right? Because hey, I get it says I agree with you. Yes, I've had that experience too. And I'll say this, yeah, I've talked with people and I think, this isn't right. I'm just curious, what do you think isn't right? Right? Is it my style of coaching? Is it the cost? Is it the time commitment? What do you think is kind of like the thing that feels, I don't know about this guy?
yeah,
And I have had people say, well, honestly, I don't like that you're a little pushy. And I'm like, yeah, I know you're not the first person to say that, but I will say this. This is what it feels like when someone's committed to you.
yeah,
And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, when someone is really committed to your growth, they don't give up on you.
yeah,
And right now I don't want to give up on you. I don't want to say, okay, you're not ready. There's a reason that we're talking, right? I didn't throw you in a van and try to to get you to hire me as a coach. You called me. You scheduled this appointment. Like you wanted this, not me. So I'm just following through on what you wanted. Let's talk about that.
yeah. Right. That's so good. Let's talk about that. That's good. How about the idea that the first objection is the false one? And so you're really just trying to get by that first objection to know what the next one is.
Yeah, I agree. The first objection is I'm afraid. First objection is the ego saying, I just want to get back to my normal world where nothing's new, right? Because, hey, if I hire Coach Dan to double my income, that sounds great, but it sounds like it's also going to be really scary, right? I want these things, but I want them at zero cost to me, right? That's what the ego's saying. Right. So the first no is an ego no, right? It's that part of you that's saying, I'm nervous about doing this new thing. So, what I do is I name it. Like, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to think about it. Yeah, yeah, I understand. I get it. We've been talking about a lot of really new things. It feels a little uncomfortable, a little scary, Yeah, you want the money. You're not sure you can do what it takes to get it. You're not sure that you pay me, it's going to come out, in your favor. I understand all those things, but you got to do something, right? I mean, if you do nothing, nothing is what you're going to get. I don't know that you've talked with anybody as dedicated to you as I am. I've given you a lot of help. I think at the very least, you owe me your honesty about what's really going on.
This is good. You already kind of answered this question, but as you were as we were going through the free dessert challenge
Yeah.
and then a little bit past that, naturally all these, yeah, that's great. Is it a yes or a no? Or these natural ways that are obviously so practiced. that they spontaneously come out of you now. So I wrote down, where did you learn all this sales stuff? And I know you said dating, but do you have a long history? Do you have a long
Yeah, yeah,
history of sales, or where you've clearly got some a skill
yeah.
set there?
Well, I taught personal development courses for over a decade. I wrote and taught personal development courses. And I one of my given gifts is I have a unique understanding of human behavior. I mean, I remember being on the playground as a kid and watching all the kids playing with each other and going, okay, it makes sense that this person is playing with this person. It makes sense that this person likes this person, right? I would break this down. And in my little 8-year-old, 12-year-old brain, I don't know if I really thought that through that clearly, but I do remember it making sense about why these kids were playing with each other. And I think it's because my own trauma made me an outcast, right? It made the world very, very unsafe for me, Misha. It still is, right? I still have to every day get up and get into it, right? Put on the big grown up suit and tell the little boy, hey, it's going to be okay. I got you, brother, right? We're going to be fine. Give him a little hug and we go to work. But part of it is that unique understanding. That unique understanding drove me into personal development. It drove me to become a personal development instructor. It drove me to develop my own personal growth courses. And it also helped me gain a unique understanding of how people buy things. And so as I was teaching personal development, I realized, oh, this is what it takes to move someone from a space of uh, I want to stay stuck in my own shit and move them to, okay, I want to do the hard work that's going to allow me to grow and free me from this trauma. And it's a direct line of sales. It's a direct line right into sales, right? I'm willing to look at these difficult things so I can get what I want out of life. And it's beyond, in sales and business and working with someone, it's beyond just I want to feel happier. And it's I want to really experience myself as my greatest self and earn income doing those great things. And that's what I've helped people do over and over and over again. It is my passion, it is my love, freeing people of their self-imposed limitations. And I will do it till the very day I die and
It's
maybe beyond.
amazing. You promote authentic sales in your style called no douchebag selling.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Just like you, I hate salespeople. Right? The classic Sandler used car cheap suit salesperson, right? That is the majority of our industry. And it is the majority because there is zero bar for entry. Like if you could become a salesperson, or I'll say it this way, if you could become a brain surgeon in the way that anybody could become a salesperson, we would hate brain surgeons, right? Brain surgeons are the people who kill people, right? If tomorrow I could say I am a brain surgeon, I'd be killing people left and right? There's a huge barrier to entry to be a brain surgeon. All the school, all the studying, the AMA, you constantly every year you have to show that you still know how to do brain surgery, right? They don't screw around with this. With salespeople, you could anybody could call themselves a salesperson, and there is no bar for entry, and that means that the worst of the worst get into it. And you have to be so dedicated, so unbelievably dedicated to be good at it. And that dedication means that you have to be a student of human behavior, right? And understanding people is what moves you out of that douchebag salesperson, right? That douchebag salesperson is only in it for themselves, right? They failed and failed and failed at everything, and now they're failing at sales. So they're like, I don't care. I'm gonna flush all of my ethics down the toilet just so I can make money and have mine. And they're never happy. But we tend to interface with those type of salespeople, right? Who are struggling, who are living out their trauma day to day. And so what I teach people is how to be students of um, of human behavior. I teach people how to interpret the things that their prospects are saying so they don't get into those sort of douchebag cycles, right? That used car salesperson who says things like, "Oh, well, you give me a call when you get serious about buying a car because clearly you're not," right? Like, look, we just sold our house, and our our agent was trying to get us to drop the price. And we knew the price, right? He just wanted us to drop the price so he can sell it faster and get his and move on, right? Didn't give a damn about us. So we get on a call with him and he's like, "Hey, do you really want to sell your house or not? I've been doing this for 35 years." And I said, "Don't talk to me like that." Right. And he completely stopped because he knew the jig was up. Most people fall into that. Most of his clients would go, "Okay, you're the expert. I guess I'm not doing the right thing," right? That's douchebaggery. What you can say is what I would rather hear is, "I'm feeling really concerned that the price of your house isn't going to sell it. And I'd like to work with you in developing a price where I think you have a greater shot. Do you want to work with me on that?"
It's good. And also, do you want to sell your house quicker, or are you comfortable with the pace that it's
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
Getting that feedback loop versus making it being so realtor centric. I
Yeah. It
give
was
a space for
unkind.
client. It was.
It was,
You know what's so interesting about that too is he totally the dude just sold your house. You could be on here espousing guy or girl, so dude or dudette could
yeah,
be
dude.
on
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
espousing, you could be on here espousing that realtor services, how they served you at the highest level, how he did such a great job helping you sell your house, move on to the next, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But he blew
I
it, man.
He did. And it's not hard to do it right, Misha. Right? This is the essence of no douchebag selling. It's not hard to do it right. In fact, it's easier to do it right. You feel better. Your client feels better. Everybody's happier when you do it right. It's the problem is that, well, it's not a problem. You're going to have to face a lot more no's when you do it right. Right? Like he was doing it in a way where he was leveraging getting his way. Now, if he did it right, we might say, "No, we're doing it at this price." Right? And then it would take a little longer. "Okay, I get it. I understand you want to sell it at this price. I'm just really concerned." And I just want to go on record saying I'm concerned. I've been doing this a while, right? By a while, I mean 35 years. I kind of know this. It doesn't mean I'm perfect, but I kind of know this. And I tell you what, why don't we just ride this out for another week or so and see what happens with that? And if nothing happens, can we revisit this conversation? Would that be okay? Right? It would have been another week, right? One more week of doing it. And guess what happened, Misha? We sold it at our price anyway.
Yeah, it's the
Right?
thing.
And
Yes.
he never came back and go, "Hey guys, I just want to own up. I was completely off base. I was wrong." I love it, right?
Yeah. So interesting. It's so interesting.
It's
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 so easy, and so many people blow it. Uh,
yeah.
the frame you gave of people living out their trauma through their sale, the way they sell, is so
Yeah.
incredible. I am never gonna forget this. I'm gonna look at one, how am I selling these days? But
Yeah, right.
also, yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. But also, just watching other people and just it's so good. That's such an awesome frame or magnifying glass to look at
Yeah.
sales people and life through. I think right now in the market there's this perception that I can just run ads, I can run paid ads, I can do AdWords, I can do
Yeah.
all this stuff. So why do I need to learn how to sell? Because I can have Facebook do it for me.
That's a great question. And The real simple answer is yes, you can do all those ads. And I encourage it. I do it. They're important. It's a way to get, you can't talk to as many people as an ad can talk to. I want you to think of a TV commercial that you love and a TV commercial that you hate, right? And look, I know today there aren't nearly as many TV commercials. Like the golden age of television commercials was about a decade ago, right? So, but if you think about it, like there are commercials that you like, that are fun, that are funny, that you enjoy. Ryan Reynolds is doing these really fun commercials now for Mint Mobile. I love listening to them. They're fun, they're authentic, they're light, they're cute. You know, he's like, yeah, when I got into this, I thought I'd do maybe one or two commercial. Here I am on commercial 50. Like, you know, and it's like, oh, I can laugh at that. Okay. Then there's the other type of commercial, right? They're loud, they're annoying, right? Your ads are extrapolations of how you approach sales. Your message that you put out is in the ad. If it's an inauthentic message, it's an inauthentic ad. It's not going to work. If it's you, if it's your personality, if it's fun, if it's light, if it's informative, if it's the thing that people that you talk to face go, oh, I like that. That's the ad. But you're never going to know that until you develop yourself as a salesperson. Like join a networking group, like have one-on-ones with people. Start to learn how your message is landing. Look, when I first got into business networking, I thought, well, I'm a good communicator. This will be easy. I started talking to people about the thing that I do. Their eyes glazed over. I'm like, oh, I suck at this. Right. That's what we try to use ads for. Okay. I don't want to look at the place where I suck. I'm going to do ads and then I'm going to blame the ads when they don't work. Oh, Facebook ads don't work. Right. LinkedIn doesn't work. No, you don't work. Right. And look, you can hire Elton John to teach you how to play piano, but if you don't try and practice, then you can't say, oh, Elton John is a bad piano teacher. No, you didn't do the work. If you don't spend the time honing your message live in front of people, then those ads won't work because those ads end up where? Live in front of people. You got to know what works, and what works happens in a sales interaction, a sales conversation. You got to go out there. You've got to put your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on. You got to go out there and have these conversations and get rejected and improve them and perfect them. And then you have a message that you can put in ads.
Good. I, in 40 seconds or less, because I have a few questions, secret weapon of success. You have a secret weapon of success. What is it?
I do. So as I said before, like everybody else, my trauma follows me around. And that trauma shows up as stress. We all have stress. We all have concerns. We all have little voices in our heads, right? Now I've tried meditation. I've tried everything. I found something that not only relieves my stress, it helps me sleep better. It helps me wake up in the morning, shot out of a cannon. And it is this thing. It's not a pill. It's not a book. It's not what it is. It's something on my phone. It is a product called Nucalm, Nucalm, Nucalm. Nucalm uses this technology called binaural beats. And there's a lot of this out there, but Nucalm is the best. They put over 30 years of work into perfecting this product. This product is used by not just Coach Dan Gordon, the US military, special forces, pilots, the FBI, right? People with a lot more stress than you and I use Nucalm to not just reduce their stress, but to perform higher. This guy, maybe you've heard of him, Tony Robbins. He's now involved with Nucalm. He gets pitched all the time for stuff, but he's involved with Nucalm. I started using it and I'm like, I've got to figure like, what is this? So I got in touch with a CEO guy named Jim Poole, right? I'm good at sales. So I got Jim Poole on the line. He was like, who are you? How did you get my number? Like, okay, Jim, let's just talk, right? I got Jim to give me free weeks of Nucalm that I can give out to people. So you right now listening, You must try this for a week, 1 week. Now I do New Calm every morning. It jump starts me, right? I get up, I'm all sleepy, I'm tired. Before I get my coffee, I do New Calm, boom, I'm hit. I'm ready to go. At night, because my entrepreneur brain doesn't stop, I put on New Calm. It eases me into sleep. And I sleep, I can maybe sleep 5 hours and I feel like I've gotten 10 hours. So to get your free week of New Calm, just text CALM, CALM, to that same number, 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366, and text the word CALM, CALM. Once again, CALM, CALM, to 213-409-8366. You'll get a link to download a free week of New Calm. It will change your life. That's my secret weapon.
Amazing. I love it. Clearly worth the risk. 1 week free. Text CALM to 213-409-8366. Do you have any favorite coaching stories? Somebody you took from A to B?
Yeah. One of my very first clients, a beautiful man named Trevor. He's a speaker and he worked for a company that I don't want to divulge too much because of privacy, but he spoke for a company that sold a product, and people would come in for these weekends and get information and also, be able to buy this product, this learning system. And he came to me and he said, I want to be number one. I want to be the number one salesperson in this company. And I said, no problem, Trevor. I can absolutely do that. And he goes, really? Like, yeah, right. In the back of my mind, I'm going, I have no idea if I can do this, right? I'm shaking in my boots, right? I'm really scared because I'm making a commitment to this guy, and he's going to make a big giant financial commitment because I'll be honest, Mischa, I ain't cheap. Um, I've earned it. Even back then, I wasn't so terribly cheap. This is actually before I doubled my prices. I was still kind of expensive, and so he bought in. And what I recognized is how he was stopping himself. And that was in his clothes, right? We talked about his clothes, talked about his clothes, not clothing, how he closes the sale. And he was spending the whole weekend really scared of that close. And he'd give tons and tons of value, really smart guy. So this thing that he was teaching, he would teach and he would give away all this information. But the close, man, he was dying at that. And I said, we're going to turn this around. Instead, you're going to close at the beginning and you're going to close throughout the entire weekend. And this is going to help you stop worrying about the close. Now, I got to be honest, I had no idea if what I was doing was right, but I do know that doing something radically different always helps. That even if this didn't work, something would come of it, right? And this is the thing. Engineers call it testing to failure, right? You test something, you try something new, you do something radical, right? I also had him do this. I said, Tim, tell your people this, because it was a 3-day, training thing. I said, tonight, Friday night, Friday, the thing, tonight, I want you to go home and I want you to Google the name of this company and the word fraud or scam and fraud. Look at all the reviews, all the things, all this stuff. I want you to print them out. I want you to bring them here, and we're going to discuss this tomorrow morning. And he's like, holy shit, are you out of your mind? I'm like, look, man, they're going to do it anyway. You might as well get it on the table, right? You start to, right? And I said, well, you got to do it too, right? So we have something to talk about. And what he saw in all these people who called it a scam, they just weren't doing the work. I started to realize, oh, that's why it seems like a scam to them, because they weren't actually doing all the things. And this opened up this huge conversation, and it built a huge amount of trust, because instead of trying to bury this, people in the room were like, wow, right? And so this is me. I have an infinite number of ideas. Another God-given gift. I'm a very creative person. I love problems. I love solving problems. So I started to do these things that seemed a little nonsensical, but were actually counterintuitive, because counterintuition is where the action is. The reason people don't do stuff is it seems like a bad idea. Well, let's test the bad idea. Maybe there's a good idea inside of it. So we did all these things. Pretty quickly, he became the number one salesperson. And not only that, but he eventually left that company and started his own training company. And I helped him launch his own coaching program. And it was so much fun, because he got addicted to doing new things, taking risk. And that's what I find from most of my clients. They get addicted to doing these new things, to having new success, to to stepping into the fires that they used to run away from. That's what I love about this business. That's what I love about doing the work that I do and the way that I do it. And that's what I love about my clients.
So good. The passion is evident. The fun, I think a lot of us can lose track that this can be fun, that it can be
Yeah.
fun. We can have a good time. I sense that coming out of you. So I think that is awesome, right? That's inspiring.
Yeah.
I think, again, I'm just going to say it. I think the lens of my trauma is reflected in my sales process is
It is.
so,
Yeah.
so, so good. Um, this is good. This is good. I appreciate that. I appreciate your stories. I could keep digging, but I think we're butting up against time. So
Yeah.
I want to be respectful of our time. So I think this is a good place to end. But before I hit stop, inevitably, when I do hit stop, I know whenever I'm being interviewed and we hit stop and I walk away, I go, "Oh, I meant to say, or I really meant to highlight this," or something like that. Does anything
Mm,
come to your mind in that regard?
yes. You who are listening right now, I want you to ask yourself this question. What do I love about myself? I want you to ask yourself, what do I love about me? And I don't want it to be things like, well, I show up, or I'm courageous, or or I work hard. No, no, no. I'm talking about the deepest parts of what you love about yourself. I mean, I can give you my answer, that the the darkness that I feel occasionally, it still comes rushing in. I built a relationship with that darkness. The part of me that says I'm no good, I built a relationship with that. And in that relationship, I'm able to ease it back. I'm able to talk to it. I'm able to look into it. I love that I look into the darkest places of my soul for the purpose of healing and growth. And I can put my arms around those dark parts and hug them and say, you're still good. And I love that I've trained other people to do the same thing. Now, that's what I'm asking you to do. And I'm asking you to do it because I want you to imagine making a cold call and having that foundation of knowing you are this excellent, wonderful person touched by God, and that no amount of rejection or pushback or opposition can move that flag that you've planted. When you operate from that space, all those things that typical sales training try to cover or try to work you around, which is just trying to avoid your trauma, all those things go away. You stop paying attention to them, because they don't touch those parts of you that you don't want to look at. That's why it's important to know foundationally what you love about yourself and to bring that into every interaction.
Everybody watching, listening, you can overcome your trauma with Dan Gordon and make money doing it.
Yeah. Because what do we know about business? Money is the most important thing.
Money's the most important thing. Hey, Dan, this has been a ton of fun. I'm going to hit stop. We'll say goodbye offline.
Thanks, brother. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.